Lionel, is that you?
There, I think I got it. The button has been pushed. We're off to the races. This is a special report of the Kevin Marks David Hyde report without Kevin Marks.
So playing the part of Kevin Marks and David Hyde will be David Hyde. Is that what you're saying?
No, Lauren James. Until Kevin shows up, Lauren James will play the part of Kevin Marks. Because he was also, because this is a special report for Trainfest.
Oh, that's right.
Special report.
The special report.
That looked like a good time.
Or bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Mr. Sandman.
Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream. Make him the cutest that I've ever seen. Give him the word that I'm not a rover. Then tell him that his lonesome nights are over. Sandman, I'm so...
There he is. HR's here.
1 minute late.
There he is.
1 minute into the show. There he is. Mr. Write it up. Get out your form. Write it up.
Part of our show, Kevin
Marks.
You know, I like to make an entrance.
Yeah, well, you did. We're a minute and 12 seconds into the show because this is a special report. Are you ready, Bruce?
I am.
Okay. This is a special report of the Kevin Marks David Hyde train show report.
Dateline, November 23rd.
Oh, that sounds important.
Dun 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 dun. Mr. Sandman, sing me a tune.
Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream. Make him the cutest that I've ever seen. Give him the word that I'm not a rover. Then tell him that his lonesome nights are over. Sandman, I'm so...
Da, 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 da. Why am I singing Mr. Sandman?
I don't know, but my ears are now bleeding.
Because they kind of start off with a bum 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 bum.
Yeah, bum 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 bum.
Now I'm thinking of Back to the Future.
Why would you say that, Brad? That's kind of mean.
I'm sorry, Lionel.
That was rude.
I'm just in a foul mood tonight.
Yeah,
surely you can understand.
Because you're fighting with the people at the the Chattanooga 2026 show, the Iron City N Scale Club, which is now, well, it's not a club technically, but it is. It's more of a benevolent dictatorship with Patrick Moore and Brad Williamson.
Thank you for the benevolent part. I appreciate that.
And you guys were going to participate in the national T-Track record-breaking attempt for the biggest T-Track layout ever. And now you're not, because unless you use Digitrax, you can't play.
Yeah.
Really?
Irreconcilable philosophical differences. Let's just put it that way.
I don't think so. I think you see, this is where, Brad, you and I have been able to create a somewhat tenuous friendship.
Tenuous.
Yes.
And this is kind of where this is our fork in the road. You at all costs will try to be as politically correct as you possibly can. I left. Okay. I passed that exit 10 years ago.
I wouldn't call it political correctness. There's no politics. It's just,
well, sure.
I'm not in the mood to debate these guys. We're not interested in participating anymore. Yeah. Sayonara.
Because unless you use Digitrax, you can't play.
That is the basic crux of the disagreement. Yes.
And who dictated this?
Several members on the committee.
Yeah.
So Now, is
what
there
would-
anything in the T-Track specifications that say you have to use Digitracks, or just because
No,
they like Digitracks and that's what they want?
Well,
pretty much, yes.
there's an
That's pretty
organization.
much it. There's no such thing in the standards. We've run them where you have DCC on one loop and just straight DC on another. We've run them with a Digitrax command station. We've run it with Kevin Squire's DCCX command station.
So-
We've done that at every layout we've ever set up, just because we have people who haven't gone down the DCC road yet.
Right.
And we don't want to exclude them from participation. So
I don't fully understand this, Brad. So if you can help me understand it. By the way, this is on the free channel, and on the free channel, who doesn't love Rapido trains?
Your fast track to model railroading fun.
Rapido trains, your fast track to model railroading fun.
So I don't fully understand this, Brad, because as we've discussed before many times over the years, everybody would be happier if they just thought of me as their dim-witted brother.
when I went down that road, it did make me a much happier person. You're correct.
That you realize you're a dim-witted brother? Is that
Yeah,
what I heard?
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah,
yes.
that I'm his
Okay.
dimwit. So if I understand this correctly, the Iron City N Scale group, which was loosely founded by you and Mr. Patrick Moore, is a group that tries to be welcoming to model railroaders of all levels of ability.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct.
You're
That's-
trying
if
to
we don't like mission statements, but if we had one, that would be it. Yes.
right. If you're trying to create a gateway into the hobby.
Yep.
So in order to do that, you guys take every opportunity you can to participate in as many shows and things, and you guys will take your T-Track modules, and you'll either A, join in with a layout that might be there, or B, create your own layout. But at the end of the day, you guys won't say to somebody, well, you can't run your train on this layout because it's not DCC correct, or it's not using our particular brand of control. What you do is you've developed a wiring system that basically includes everybody and anybody.
Yes, that is what we definitely strive for. And in a layout this size, I understand there have to be compromises. That was just one of our core principles that we couldn't compromise on. But I mean, anything else, anything else, I'm willing, but I can't. Iron City can't engage in something that's going to exclude someone who we basically promised, if you want to come with us, you bring your equipment and we will find a way to make it work. That's one of the rules we live by. And like I said, I'm willing to compromise on a lot of things, but not on that.
So how was this layout to be built? Like each group would have their own particular leg or section of the layout?
Yeah, there's a main trunk to it. And then there are legs that branch off of that. And the outside, which we usually call the red loop, has to be all tied to the main layout. So we had, there was no problem with using whatever command station they wanted on that. We just wanted to be able to keep the inner yellow loop isolated from that. So we could run, Kevin's DCCX, we could run DC power to that, and just make sure that anybody who wanted to run with us there could do that. And we were told that that wouldn't work. So that's when we bowed out.
Yeah, can I ask a question?
Certainly.
What do the Fremo boys do and girls do?
That's a good question, Bruce. I don't know the answer to that one.
I think all these huge, large layouts that they set up are not just restricted to one brand of DCC controls.
You may be right about that.
I don't think they are. I think there's several in there, and
That
guys
could
are
be.
using different things to control them, different throttles, we throttles, I throttles,
No,
throttle throttles.
That's not the
Yeah.
issue. It's either DC or DCC. And I know that when they had the convention up in Portland, all the N scale people got together, and it was all DCC. There was no DC anywhere on the layout, but they also had one control, which had to be Digitrax at the time.
Yeah, I don't know much about the Fremo
Yeah.
standards, so I don't know but I do know there is no standard in T-Track for what
Right.
kind of power you have to use. What you have to be careful of, and this is where I understand their concern, is that you can't, if you run, say, a DC power pack on the inner loop and a DCC system on the outer loop, you have to make sure that there's no point of contact, no electrical contact between those two loops, which, I mean, I am 150% confident we can do that because we've done it at every show we've ever been at, except for sometimes when we're running with the combined layout at Altoona. But any other layout we've ever had, there's been accommodations for both DC and DCC, and it's never caused any problems. So it can be done. That's just not the direction that this group wanted to go in. So,
But we wish them nothing but the best.
yep, that's correct. I hope they do break the record, and I hope they have a great time.
That's where on our tenuous friendship, we have a tendency to perhaps part ways.
That's where there's a little fork in our road together.
I wish them the best, but I just want, I'm trying to understand because you've been talking to me about it, and I just trying to understand. And I'm, like you say, you guys have a system where you can, and it's important to make people feel welcome in this hobby. I think.
Yeah, I agree. That's
Yeah, wouldn't
to
it be
me
ironic?
the best thing that we ever did as a group was that I think he's 12 years old, Ryder, his name is. He came and set up his stuff and ran whatever locomotives he had, and then ended up winning the module contest. I mean,
Oh wow.
there's an Iron City guy for life. He'll be. My hope is that he'll be running things when Pat and I are long gone. So
I'm thinking it would be so ironic if they're setting out to meet this record and all of a sudden they find themselves like, say, 7 or 8, 9 modules short when how many the Iron City boys could have taken down there. And
we could have easily had we could have easily had around 100 modules.
yeah. So
Sure,
well,
but-
hopefully that won't happen. Hopefully,
yeah, I don't wish that on them.
No, I think we both agree that hopefully their exclusionary tactics will work. And
Is this is this the NMRA group making these?
No.
This is a group that's all by itself called the National T-Track. The National
Layout.
T-Track layout, and it's the
And they are setting this layout up at the NMRA Chattanooga.
Right,
and
right,
Andy Zimmerman, I guess, was instrumental in getting that to happen. No, the NMRA was not. Andy was involved, but Andy did his best to try to, he's the one who invited us to be part of it, and he did his best to try to, to get them to allow us to do what we were asking to do. So he was the only NMRA. Higher up, I guess you could say. I'm sure there are probably other NMRA members involved, but he was.
It's really a shame.
It is. It's a shame. I wish it could have worked out, but it just wasn't to be. So our next thing is December 7th and 8th. We'll be setting up at a show in Sharon, Pennsylvania.
And how did that go?
It went absolutely fantastic. We had Kevin's DCCEX running both DC and DCC loops, and everybody had a great time.
So you keep referring to this DCCX. What is that?
It's a command station. To me, it's another great entry point to the hobby for somebody who, for whatever reason, because there are kids, 12 teenage kids who maybe can't afford a $200 DCC system and are good with electronics. You can buy Arduino boards and assemble your own DCC command station, and it does pretty much, it does most of the stuff that a commercial DCC system can do.
You can. There's actually a website for it called dcc-ex.com.
Yeah,
And
it's pretty. Now, I personally
is my microphone not on?
Sorry. Yeah, it's on. My bad.
No,
Kevin, write me up again.
I can't even take a stop long enough to take a breath. It's like
I know this is like the Brad show.
Yeah.
What happened to our show, right?
Yeah.
We should rename
Our
the
show
show
is done.
Brad's Bits.
Yeah, Brad.
Yeah.
This is the Brad show, and we'll have the Hyde Marks Aviation Corner.
Sorry, guys.
No, it'd be the
hang on.
Marks and Hyde road trip corner.
There
you
you
go.
go.
There you go.
Yeah, see, we even talk the same.
So, anyways, briefly, DCC-EX is a team of dedicated enthusiasts producing an open source DCC and DC solutions for you to run your complete model railroad layout. Our easy to use, do it yourself, and free open source products run off the shelf Arduino technology and are supported by numerous third-party hardware and apps like JMRI, Engine Driver, WeThrottle, blah, blah, blah. And basically, the crux of it is you can, with this particular software or this particular hardware, you can run both DCC and DC locomotives on the same layout.
Yeah, you just have to have different loops, but yeah, you can switch. Like
Right. Yeah.
loop A is powered by the DCC part of the command station, and then the same command station will send DC to another loop, and that's what we've used. I think there's only a couple times where we ever used anything else. As soon as Kevin put his together, that's what we've used.
Can we just deviate from this for just a second?
You can do whatever you want. This is your show.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Lauren, you do understand that the same rules that apply to you don't apply to me.
Yes, Overlord.
Okay. Enough with the messages.
I had a feeling that was going to be. I can hear all the dinging in my head.
As long as we always stay with that. Okay, well, that was fun to talk about. We hope you guys work it out. We hope that all of a sudden, the guys that are running the National T-Track, a record-breaking layout in Chattanooga 2026, have a moment, an epiphany, and suddenly realize that, gee, maybe there's other ideas that we should investigate and talk about, because maybe we can include more model railroaders than just those that are going to do it our way and only our way.
That would be awesome if that happened. Yes, and we would be ready to go if they decide that they were willing to give us that small degree of freedom. We'll see what happens.
Well, we'll see what happens. And I understand that some people want the show to be just what they want it to be. Like, if you want to just talk about Trainfest, I understand that people get antsy and that 17 minutes and 30 seconds and they're like, well, what about us? We're not talking about what we want to talk about.
It's not that we wanted to talk about it. It was we were asked to talk about it.
And what was your reply? Yeah, we'd like to do that. We'd like to talk
sometime.
Okay, so go ahead, talk. What's that? You stumbled with
transition.
you don't
I thought that was a great segue, Lionel.
What's that? It's not done the way you like.
Oh boy, the Overlord is on a roll tonight.
No, I'm good. I'm excited. All right, so this particular podcast, which doesn't necessarily, but probably will mention Rapido trains.
Your fast track to model railroading fun.
If it's N, if it's H-O, the fast track is Rapido.
Is not a wrap up. It's a show report, primarily with our very own Mr. Jingles, David Hyde, and Hard Part, Kevin Hard Part Marks, as he likes to be referred to. Try never to refer to him as Kevin Marks or Mr. Marks or Hey Kevin. He prefers Kevin Hard Part Marks. And he also prefers, if you're talking to him face to face, when you get to the heart, he likes air quotes. So he likes Kevin, air quotes, Hard Part Marks. Is that
what else you got?
So Kevin, what did you have to take any flights to get to Milwaukee, or were you able to drive there?
I was able to drive. It's only an hour and 50 minutes away.
Did you stay overnight?
I stayed 3 nights.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm dedicated. Well, I needed to be in Racine, which is just south of Milwaukee anyway, on Monday morning for a meeting. So sometimes timing just works out.
See, and if I don't talk, there's no show.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Well, that's a fair statement.
there you go. To show my dedication, I was in, I don't even remember where I was. Portland. I was in Portland for 12 days. I got home. My flight was late. I got home at midnight, went to bed, got up, did laundry, repacked, did some work, and was on the road by 1:30 to drive down to Milwaukee.
Okay, I'll ask general questions, and you guys can fight amongst yourselves who answers them.
Did you burn off some hotel points for your stay?
I did. I used points for the whole stay. It was great.
Wow.
Yeah. So
So
all
you
this
got,
traveling.
so you got
pays
the
off.
luxury penthouse suite at the hotel.
I actually got a corner suite that actually had where the actual corner was glass.
Wow.
And it was overlooking the downtown Milwaukee where the show was. So it was kind of nice.
Oh yeah, his room description is way more interesting than Brad and I talking about. So I thought Trainfest was dead. I thought Trainfest was dead and gone, and we were able to move on.
No,
Evidently, yeah.
it was-
Evidently, they're doing it this year, and then the NMRA is taking it over next year, right, Kevin?
Yeah, I believe the local WISE division is going to step back in for next year. This year, I believe, was put on by the Great Train Show, the same people who did that, along with Kalmbach. And it was great to see the show revived. And it was downtown, first time ever. And apparently the downtown convention center remodeled, and they needed people to have shows. So they gave the Trainfest people a great rate, which is good because State Fair Park, where it's normally located, is extremely expensive. And for people listening, just to give you an idea of how expensive, just to have a set of men's and women's restrooms open costs like $20,000.
Whoa.
So if you have two sets of those, you got to sell a lot of tickets just to pay for restrooms.
So I have a question.
Mhm.
What is it that makes us think that next year the Trainfest is going to be able to get the same great rate, or are we not going to just fall? Is it not going to just fall right back into the problem it's had over the years, where they can't find any place with a reasonable rate in order to run it? Because it sounds like because the convention center was just remodeled, they were trying to get people in there, so they gave them a great rate. Like what's to stop it from next year going right back to the same old problem?
I don't know. Not my circus, not my monkeys.
So apparently you guys did your homework then.
Yeah. My understanding is that next year it's going to be basically the NMRA's National Train Show. So it's going to be billed as maybe Trainfest, the NMRA National Train Show. Now, I don't know for a fact if that's happening, but it sounds like that's what I had heard, and I don't know if that's hearsay or if that's fact. But I think they're moving away from the National Train Show being tied to the national convention every year.
Well, that's interesting.
So, in other words, we don't know if next year it's right back to where we started from. There is no Trainfest because they can't get a venue and it costs too much and blah, 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 blah.
Right. And I'm assuming Walthers has a big play in this as well as Fire Crown now. And but it was a good show, I have to say. It was this is for my first time there. We flew up to Chicago on Thursday and right in the middle of a snowstorm. That was fun. Got to do a go around, which was interesting. Yeah. There's your aviation corner for the night.
It's almost as fun as being on Final Approach, seeing the runway, and next thing here you probably say, "Ladies and gentlemen, we've been diverted from Saskatoon to Edmonton."
Yeah.
You can see the runway; it's 10 feet down.
It's nothing like that because there's nothing in Saskatoon. It's nothing like that. It's Chicago. Hey, let's land in Milwaukee. Where's it? It's 80 miles up the road. No.
Exactly. But I would say the show, so it was in a really, really nice convention center. I thought it was too nice for a train show.
Wow.
Well,
I agree.
Oh,
I
that's
got to say, the restrooms were fantastic.
well,
Yeah.
I got it. The restrooms were fantastic. I guess I'm confused. Like, David, you confused me right out of the box because you were so excited to go, and yet Trainfest for the last 3 or 4 years has just been a dumpster fire trying to get it going. And then the next thing I know, you're going, hey, I'm going to Trainfest. And I'm thinking, what for?
Yeah, I remember when we had that conversation. I just had assumed I had been told that it's a good show and that it's pretty large and it's a top 5 show in the United States. So, and I saw the manufacturers that were going, so it looked like it was going to be a good show. And it turned out to be a decent show. It's not Springfield. I mean, nothing's Springfield. Nothing's the Amherst show. Nothing's the Railroad Hobby show. But it was a good show, and I had a great time seeing a lot of people and seeing some layouts and talking to manufacturers, seeing people like Lauren there and Kevin and a couple other AML fans. It was a good time, and I would say the show is, pretty much all the same manufacturers are there that you see in Springfield. It's just not quite as big. I would say it's probably like the show is about the size of what's in the maybe the better living center, maybe.
No.
Yeah, maybe slightly bigger than that. And but it was a great show, and I hope it continues because Milwaukee is a great town. Really enjoyed visiting there. I've been there a few times, not for trains, but we had a good time. It was great to see Kevin. He seemed pretty tired when I saw him, but he was hanging in there.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, he had stayed up really late and
Like out
And,
life in general, or just that day, or
No, so like Friday
traveling.
Friday when I got there, I had a severe case of jet lag and lack of sleep, and I checked into the hotel and I was just dozing off and on for a couple hours. So I just went to bed at like 9 o'clock, and of course I woke up at 1:30 like wide awake, and which has never happened before, like seriously wide awake, and probably around 3:30, 4 o'clock, I'm like, well, this isn't changing, so I might as well get up and be productive. And so Saturday was a very, very long day. It was a solid 21-hour day.
so how much did it cost to get into this show?
I don't know. Mine, I was free.
15.
Yeah,
How did you get in free?
I have a buddy.
A
His
buddy,
name's Bob.
a buddy
His
named
name's
Bob. Oh, Bob
Yes,
bought you a
different
Bob. Oh, a different Bob. Oh, not the
Different
same
This
Bob.
is- no, we have Bob. We have Bob 1 and Bob 2.
No,
is
this
Bob
isn't.
1.
This
Yeah.
isn't under the layout, Bob.
Yeah, this isn't under the layout, Bob. He's a dealer. He sells 187 size vehicles.
Oh, that's
So
right.
he
What
got-
company is he own?
It's called Master Built Models.
Master Built Models. Does he have like a website or something?
He does. I'll have to look that up, but I think it's masterbuiltmodels.com. But let me see.
Yeah. Why don't you take-
Anyways,
well, that's kind of important.
he,
if we're going to give Bob a plug, we kind of need.
yeah,
to
here it is. So it's Master Built, and it's Master Built like the trucks, BILT, Master Built, BILT.
Oh, I get it. I
models.com.
get it. I see.
Yeah.
I get what's happening.
Like
there.
Peterbilt. Yeah, like Peterbilt.
I get it. There. Okay. Master Built trucks.
So-
That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
So-
masterbuiltmodels.com.
Oh, masterbuiltmodels.com.
Yeah.
And
So he's a big vehicle guy, and he usually goes with or I go with him, but he the past times we've gone to Springfield, it's the same deal, and so he can't go to Springfield this year, so he said, I'm going to do Trainfest. Do you want to come along? And I said, yeah, let's go. I can get time off from work that week. So we flew up to Chicago on Thursday, and we went. I actually met. I did some business there right off the trip and visited a horn maker, and then
Well
Yeah.
done.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. So I went there and played a couple horns, and then we went over to Lombard. And on the way to Lombard Hobbies, which I think everybody knows listening here, that's a really great big hobby store, one of the best ones. Not quite as good as Otter Valley, but a top hobby store in the
Well,
United States.
for those of you who are listening who aren't in the greater Milwaukee area or even in North America, there's people all over the world listening to the show. Lombard Hobbies is a fairly successful hobby store on the outskirts of Chicago, is it not?
Yes. Yeah, I
Okay.
think southwest or west of downtown.
And what
in
was that?
Lombard, Illinois.
What was that other shop you talked about? It wasn't as good as.
Otter Valley. Otter
What-
Valley
and,
Railroad,
where's
right?
that?
Otter
Where's
Valley
that?
Trains.
I
That's
never-
in
That sounds.
That's in
I don't.
Canada.
I don't recognize that name. Have
Okay.
you ever been there, Brad?
Yes, I was one time over the summer.
How about you, Bruce? Have you ever been there?
Been there. My back still aches since I heard that word.
Oh yeah, that's in Tillsonburg, Ontario.
He says you want to work in the tobacco fields of Tillsonburg. Tillsonburg. My back still aches when I hear that word. Well, he said, I'll only give you $7 a day. But if you're any good, you get a raise in pay. Your bed's already on the bunkhouse floor. If it gets a little chilly, you can close the door in Tillsonburg. Tillsonburg. My back still aches when I hear that word.
Tillsonburg.
Yeah.
Tillsonburg.
Some guy named James Lorne or
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. James Lorne, or I've been there one
Lorne
time. but-
Green? Lorne Green, the guy who's on Bonanza? No,
Yeah.
I don't think it's him.
Lauren,
I've been there one time, and I had to go on the wrong side of the road to get there. But I
that's
did
right,
get there.
because of
Yep.
construction.
Yeah, that's right. With the police coming at us.
Oh, that's the guy that kind of stands by the door and goes, "Is that all you're buying?"
Nice.
Go back and try again. That's not cool.
Yeah, yeah. Go back and try again.
That maxed out. Go back.
Let me make you an offer you can't refuse. Did you have
Well,
a?
I was.
Go ahead.
I don't know what happened to him, but I was building up to my funny part of the story here.
Oh,
Maybe-
okay. You have
yeah,
a funny
maybe you
part.
guys can decide if it's funny. or
Yeah,
not,
I think
right?
we will. Because
Yeah,
right now I'm
so-
not. Right now my hopes are dwindling.
Yeah, they're dwindling. Okay, so we're on our way to Lombard Hobbies, and there is a triple track Union Pacific main line between us and the hobby store, and we're coming up on this triple track, and the lights come on, and this Union Pacific train just starts creeping across the tracks, starting to speed up a little bit, and then all of a sudden, a double track train goes the opposite way really fast, and then on the third track,
What's the double track?
Yeah, what's a
train?
double track train?
sorry, double stack train, and
Just
yeah,
checking.
sorry, double stack train.
And the messages just keep on coming.
Yeah, there they are. And then on the third track is a commuter train. So we got 3 trains going across. They clear the line, the 2 fast trains, but this train is still slow. And then he gets slower. And then he gets slower. And we're sitting there, and then it stops.
Ooh.
People start doing U-turns, driving away. We are in the slow lane, or the right lane. And there is one car in front of us, and then there's a street that goes off to the right. And I'm looking at Google Maps, and I'm saying, okay, if we can get to this street, I can get us around this train to get us to Lombard, because this train's not going anywhere. So there's a car in front of us. So I tell Bob, who's
Bob.
driving,
Bob.
Bob 1. I say, Bob 1.
Oh, is he Bob
Put your
one?
turn- He's Bob 1. Yeah.
Really, the guy
Bob
that
two.
the guy that does all the work on your layout for nothing more than a few meals is actually Bob 2?
Yeah, Bob 2. Yeah, because he came into the club later. So he's Bob 2. Yeah.
This is all very confusing.
Well, no,
Yeah,
it doesn't.
anyways.
It seems, I find it odd that the guy that does a lot of electrical work on his layout and for nothing more than a few meals has been relegated to the second position.
Oh well.
That seems odd to me.
But
Yeah.
I'm sure the tuna fish sandwiches are top notch. So there's
Yeah, tuna fish sandwiches. God.
Do you think your master built friend would like to be on our podcast?
I can certainly ask him. I'll ask him.
Okay, but I asked you. I said, do you think?
I think so. Yeah,
Okay.
he's lived a
Well,
pretty
why don't you
interesting
ask
life.
him right now? Then you can send Lionel another message.
Yeah,
Because he enjoyed the other one so much.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Has anybody left the group?
No.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Oh yeah,
Somebody-
look at that. He has. So I tell Bob 1, put your turn signal on, and this guy will move up. He's keeping the intersection clear, but there's nothing coming, and he had room to move past the intersection up, so we could turn right. So he puts his right
Yeah,
turn signal on.
Hang on a minute. Could
Yes.
you maybe speed up the story because I'm laughing so hard my sides are starting to hurt.
Okay, hold on. I'm getting there. So this guy's not moving. So I say, Bob, give a little honk, just give a little dee dee, you know. So
because
give,
people in Chicago don't do
Yeah.
that at all.
right, yeah, yeah. It's like a prerequisite, right, to honk in Chicago. So he goes beep beep and doesn't move. I said, that's it. I'm getting out of the car. So I walk up to the car and I go up to the window and I look at him and he sticks his hands up at me like, "Go away, leave me alone, leave me alone, leave me alone." And
I thought
That
you
was
were-
your
I thought
first- you got out of your car and approached another
The
car,
car-
in Chicago.
I did.
Yeah.
Oh my
I did.
god!
No, that's
I
funny.
did.
Wow, and you're still
I
here
did.
to talk about it.
I'm
This
still
is-
here.
This is hilarious.
So
Hey, can we talk about T-Track again?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, you guys were complaining about what I was talking about.
So I start saying, no, I need you just to move up, please. So he finally moves, and he's like totally freaked out at me. I get back in the car, we drive down, and we get around the train, and we're there. So that was my big. I guess that wasn't that funny,
No,
but
not even-
that was
not
my
even
trip to
close.
Lombard.
That was the point of the story. You didn't talk about like what you saw at Lombard. We
No,
talked
I'm
about-
getting there. So
Oh,
then we
okay.
went to Lombard.
Hold on. I mean, how many other trains were at this crossing that you got to see or not see?
How this? No, I'm confused. How do you figure that you approaching a stranger and threatening him to move up is funny?
Well, I mean, you know, it's not really funny, but I just maybe the image of me getting out of my car and walking.
Are there pictures to support this?
Yeah,
or
peculiar,
or they call it evidence?
No, so I asked.
Were you
on the
absolutely
rumor.
sure the guy wasn't packing heat?
So
when he got
so
out of
let
the
me
train,
so
you know?
let's see if we can, guys, just for a second. Let's see if we can go back and just point for him. So he gets out of the car, walks up to the window. The guy puts his hands up and says, "Leave me alone." And he refuses to leave him alone. He continues to harass him until he moves his car forward.
That's what I did, basically. Yeah,
And
You
some-
just move up. Yeah,
And you know,
Well-
if you maybe ran the Bada Bing club or something, it might be funny to that kind of that. But I don't see you threatening people.
I didn't threaten anybody. I just asked him to move up. So
It turned
I'll
out
move on. I'll
the
move on
person
from this.
turned out the person in the car was Jason Schron from Rapido Trains.
Yeah, fast track and model railroading fun.
Who was also heading to Lombard Hobbies to make a delivery.
He was. That's
you know,
right.
on his way here. I didn't see Jason at the show. I saw the Rapido people.
Yeah, Jason was not there. So we went to Lombard, checked it out. You know, it's a big warehouse style hobby store. They have tons of inventory, lots of great prices, probably some of the best prices in the country.
Better than Otter Valley?
Well, that's
not
a different country.
That's different.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, true. So we spent some time there. Then we went to this amazing railroad club in Lombard.
Can we talk to somebody else now?
I'm just giving you the report. Yeah, sure.
Okay, we'll come back to that.
Was that instead of aviation corner? Was that
That was
that
harassing the guy in
transportation
front
corner?
of you. Yeah,
That's-
exactly.
Do you guys ever get? Sometimes I get the image that they're playing a big show, an important show, and they get to the end of a piece, and David just keeps on going, and the conductor's like, everybody's
That's not me.
everybody gets uncomfortable, and they're looking around, and David's so.
I try to be the first one off stage and the first one out the door. Trust me.
Let's talk to Lauren for a minute. Lauren James, are you here?
I'm here, Lionel.
Did you go?
There he is.
Did you go to the what was it called? The Midwest. What was it called?
Trainfest.
Trainfest. Did you go?
I did. We
Did you have a
first,
booth? Did you have a booth?
we had a booth. At first, back in the summer I was no, and in the September I changed my tune and I had a booth.
So were you selling? Were you selling products?
Yep, we were selling products.
Well, apparently you weren't selling them as cheap as Lombard does.
I don't know. That Canadian dollar is worth a lot more against that American greenback.
That's what I heard. That Lombard had the cheapest, some of the cheapest prices going, and yet you were in the lower 48, and he beat your prices. That's the word that I was told.
Play the tape. Play the tape. That's not what I said.
You don't want to do that. Trust me. I tried that once, and it blew up in my face.
Nice.
So okay, so you had a booth at so you weren't going to have a booth, and then you changed. Why did you change your mind?
Made a decision that, hey, I saw enough manufacturers were attending. I knew enough friends were going, other manufacturers, and I knew, and I also had an invitation from Walters to come as one of their large Canadian dealers to attend the manufacturer and dealer event Saturday night between the show days. So on top of that, and selling product and meeting new people and seeing friends, it was a good time.
And like how big was your booth? Did you like 2 tables, 3 tables?
20 by 10.
How did the booth prices, without revealing any numbers, how did the booth prices compare to Springfield?
I like Springfield a lot.
Okay.
A lot.
Okay. So I'm interested to see if, like, I hope the Trainfest continues, because it seemed like everybody and anybody was there, or a lot of people were there, and I just didn't understand, because when was the last time Trainfest was even a show?
2022.
Yeah, 2 years
2022.
ago.
Yeah, okay.
And
So-
that was at the fairground. So basically the big takeaway from what the manufacturers and some of the locals had told me was, so it's $15 to enter, and kids under 10 or 12 are free. So it's $15. You could find parking around the venue for as cheap as $8. We parked my truck for like $30 a day. I just didn't care. We didn't move it for 2 days, but we were all within walking. Like we could walk from the Spring Hills Hotel to the Baird Center. We walked one night from the hotel to go to the Bucks game, which was part of the NBA Cup, which is just a complete farce. But go Bucks!
What's an NBA Cup?
It's their in-season promotional tournament card part. It's a tournament
Oh,
in the middle of
okay.
the season.
It's the NBA,
Yeah.
the National Basketball League. They had a tournament in the middle of the
Yeah.
season.
Yeah.
Or at the
Interesting.
beginning of the season, I guess.
So we did the Bucks game on Friday, did the show Saturday, Sunday. I went with my friend Blair, who is also an NMRA Canada member, and also a lot of people didn't realize they met Blair. Hard Part met Blair. Michelle met Blair, and he's actually just formerly retired VP of sales for TMX, which is basically Winners, TJ Maxx, and all that group of companies. So he actually enjoyed it a lot because he reminded him of doing trade shows back in the day when he was a young scrapping kid out of McMaster University. So we had a good time.
Doing train shows in the past?
Trade shows.
Trade shows. And who is Michelle? This Michelle you speak of?
Kempema.
Okay, well, not everybody knows who Michelle is. This is you have to think of this as infotainment, not us. It is us just sitting around a table in the studio, entertaining each other. But we also have to remember that there are many tens of others listening to the show, and they don't all. Not everybody knows, the modeler simply known as Michelle.
So Michelle Kempema from the Colorado Railroad Museum, we connected with her, and then Bernard Helen from Mini Prince was there, and George Bodatak and Nancy Workman from Soundtracks were there. So we had dinner a couple times with them. I saw Mr. Hyde. He was in the different hotel than us, the hotel that served them dinner but wouldn't serve us dinner. I hate that hotel.
What hotel was that?
I want to say it was the Milwaukee Inn, maybe the Sheraton or the Hilton. We went there one night for dinner and they wouldn't serve us because we weren't guests of the hotel.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Yeah. Wow.
We gave them a 1 on Google review.
Wow. I guess you showed them.
Absolutely, I did.
Yeah, and do they care? Nope.
No,
Nope.
no. We had 12 of our party guests, and they said, "Nope, we're not doing it." So 12 people went out the door.
So it wasn't because you weren't guests of the hotel. It was because you had too big of a party.
No, they wanted to bill the 12 as one bill, and everybody was on expense accounts. That's why.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah.
Right. All right.
So they said they're going to move it back to the fairgrounds. I guess the fairgrounds had a double booking. That was kind of the reason why. I didn't know about the Baird Center giving them a discount. This is the first I heard of it. It's a really nice, beautiful center, but we were on the 3rd floor. We had to drive around a concrete helix, get up and out. Mind you, we got in pretty quick. We drove in. We got out within 20 minutes. So, I mean, that went well.
You drove your vehicle into the complex?
Yeah, on the 3rd floor.
Okay, so you drove up
Helix.
Okay.
Concrete helix.
Okay.
Actually, that'd be something you and Scott would want to get into with his
Yeah.
car, going up for a concrete helix 3 floors. Wow.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool. Parking was really easy downtown. Like there was a Bucks game on Friday and Saturday night, and you would never know there was a sports game with 18,000 going on because like the downtown was very quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But
It's a very, very quiet downtown. Marquette plays there. I think the AHL team as well as another hockey team plays there. So it's a really vibrant downtown, but it's kind of almost disconnected off the highway and kind of the major population. Milwaukee's really spread out. It's not as populous as, say, the downtown Toronto or even a downtown Chicago is. It's more spread. A lot of rural areas coming into to Milwaukee and a lot of rural areas coming out of Milwaukee. So
now
What
they're
do you
going
mean
to
rural areas coming in and out of Milwaukee? What does that mean?
you drive like you get out of town and it's all fields and cows.
This Wisconsin.
I know.
It's kind of like most cities. You get outside the city, it's a lot of field and cows.
Heavy cow tip and state. Their hard part. Heavy cow tip and state.
I really like Milwaukee. I think it's a perfect size of city.
It's a beautiful town.
It's big enough to feel like you have everything you need and nightlife and stuff, and it's not so crowded like where I live, where it's
a centralized location.
traffic.
Location. Easy in and out.
Yeah.
Right.
So they're moving back to the fairgrounds with the $20,000 washrooms?
So people like the fairgrounds because it was bigger venues. So from what I understood, they had about maybe 7,400, 7,500 on Saturday and about 3,800, 3,900 on Sunday. And the general one for attendance.
Only 3,900?
Yep.
Well, it is
Milwaukee. It was a Packers day, though. That was a Packers game in Green Bay at 4:30 that day.
Also, the problem is they haven't kept the show every year, so it's gotten a little inconsistent.
Well,
so I
that's
think
one of the odd.
reason.
That's one of the odd and peculiar things about Trainfest, which is very similar to the Spring Creek show. People travel from miles and miles, and many manufacturers show up at Spring Creek for 800 people, and it's kind of like an unsolved math equation. Like people travel all over to get to Trainfest, and yet it's stuck up in this corner of the country where it's really not that easily accessible, and yet Trainfest has somehow gotten a name as the place you got to go, which is why I said to David Hyde when he said he was going, I said, what for?
And it's got the anchor. It's got the name because of the anchors of Walters being in town and with Fire Crown and Combat. And I suspect it's going to be Fire Crown, Walters, NMRA kind of three-headed monster. From what I understood from Stacy Naffy Walters and from David Pop is the show is going to be better next year and bigger, but they were mum on the location. So maybe they're going back to the Baird Center. It was nice. There is some limitations. I don't know enough about the Thayer. Is it called the Thayer or the American
State Fair Park? State Fair Park.
State Fair Park. I'm not aware of it. I never been to that one, but some of the long-standing manufacturers and the bigger dealers had said that the fairgrounds had always done well, but most dealers were happy with the sales from what I heard, and most manufacturers, like I was content for being my first ever show because I don't know what to expect not being there before.
So let me ask you a question as a manufacturer / retailer. What is it that drew you to a show that has limited attendance and you really have no, like, I don't understand. What are your parameters to get you to go to a show? I mean, a model railroading is kind of funny that way because, like I say, people will go to Spring Creek and it's like you're thinking, why? It's not like these shows are covered by CNN and the national news. The only people that really get any benefit from them are the locals.
So my general rules is if I can drive it in one day. So we left my house at 6 a.m. and we got to Milwaukee at 2 Central. So we made good time. So if we can do it one day drive, if it has a minimum of 5,000 to 8,000 people, and it's an area that I haven't been to, and I know that there's a solid amount of customers or clubs, like there's like 15 hobby shops within the greater Milwaukee, Chicagoland area within 4 hours. So you got that many hobby shops, like some of them are varying in size. Like obviously you have your high ones like the Plains or Lombard or Hiawatha, but there's other smaller ones. So the fact that you have that many bricks and mortar shops that are still going tells you there's enough of a customer base and modeler base up there. And the invitation from Walters to be part of their event Saturday night was kind of a, I never done that before, and we've been invited before in the past. And, I was kind of nice to see my rep and my international reps and some of the buyers there and, talk with Stacy and talk with Mark. And
who are Stacy and Mark?
Stacy Naffa Walters, who's the CEO of Walters.
Can you talk a little faster?
Stacy Naffa Walters, who's
Stacy Naffa Walters. Her last name is Naffa-Walters.
Yep.
Attaboy.
She's the CEO of Walters. She took over from her dad, Phil. Phil was not there. I was actually looking forward to seeing Phil. I've talked to Phil and met Phil a bunch of times.
Okay.
Really nice man to deal with.
All right. And who's Mark?
Mark Liddell is the head of all the dealer sales for North America.
Okay.
Yeah.
So so you got to go to some sort of a black tie event on Saturday night.
Biz cash schmoozing down by the
Black
riverfront.
tie.
It
Oh
was
my
nice.
God.
It was nice.
Do you say schmooze and what?
But yeah, the problem is he's talking too slow. We need him to speed up and talk faster. So when he's talking and he says something, they're like, very good.
Lauren, run the shotgun offense. Just shotgun it. Just run the shotgun offense.
I don't know what that means.
Just means just shoot. Just do the play. Just don't even call the play at the line. Just do the play.
Okay, not everyone is hockey fluent. Like
That's not a
people up
hockey
there.
thing. That's a football. That's a football. That's a football thing.
Jeez.
You failed.
Wow.
Hard. You failed.
Holy moly!
Do you not know by now? Do you not know by now, Kevin, that Lauren only talks in cliches and
Code.
code? Yeah.
Exactly.
So who? Where were we? Oh yeah, Mark somebody or other. What's his name?
Mark Liddell, who is the head of the dealer sales program for all the North American dealers.
Okay. Go ahead.
So they also invited all the manufacturers that they distribute. So there was Fowler representatives there.
Hang on.
Atlas.
Hang on a minute. I hope when it's your turn, Kevin, you can talk nonstop for 10 minutes about the show too.
Absolutely.
Attaboy. All right. So you're at this Walters thing and all their dealers are there.
Yeah, and their manufacturers. So Atlas, Fowler, Soundtracks, Katie, Intermountain, Custom Finishing, all the different companies that were at the event that are part of the Walters catalog were invited to the event. And a number of the dealers that attended as well were invited as well.
So I have a question. What's custom finishing?
Custom Finishing is an HO and N scale company that makes white metal castings for maintenance away equipment.
Wow.
Yep. I know him. He's in my train club. He lives in Wichita Falls.
Is his name Bob too?
No. No.
Bob 3?
3, yeah.
You're
James Coker. James Coker.
What's the
He
name
had
of the
very
company?
nice
What's the name of the company?
Custom Finishing Models.
And your train club is in Wichita Falls.
No, he's a member of our train club, but he lives in Wichita Falls, about 2.5 hours away.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Wichita Falls, Texas.
Yeah.
Was there a Wichita Falls, Texas?
Yeah, there was a famous tornado there.
Oh yeah, what was its name?
I don't know, but Pat Metheny did music for
Bob 3.
Bob 4.
Bob 3.
Pat Metheny did. Pat Metheny did what?
He composed a song about it.
Ah,
Piece.
anybody?
Musical.
And for those playing at home, who's Pat Metheny?
Oh, I'm sorry to hear. He's a jazz instrument and jazz musician. Plays, I believe, plays guitar, but it's connected to a computer, so it's.
Let's turn to our music analyst.
He knows who Pat Metheny is.
We've not even asked him yet. Let me ask him, David.
Yes.
Mr. Jingles.
Yes.
Is it okay if I go by first names and just call you Mister?
You can call me Mister. Yeah.
Do you know who Pat Metheny is?
Sort of. Yeah.
Be honest. Be honest.
The only thing I know about him is he had really big hair. That's all I know.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That guy.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah,
That guy from the 70s who was a musician with big hair.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
I'm not a jazzer, so I don't really know a lot of jazzers.
Oh, I know what I was going to say to you guys. I got a great idea for what do they call it on the orchestra when they do a themed show for, like, I guess, how long will a particular themed show last? Like 2 or 3 weeks, a month?
A themed show? What do you mean by that?
Like they do the music from Star Wars.
Oh, it'll be like one weekend.
Oh, okay. I got a great idea for you. This is gonna get you that promotion you've always dreamed about.
Okay, sure.
The music from The Wizard of Oz.
We've done the movie. I've played the soundtrack while the movie's playing above us.
Oh, really? Well, that
Yeah,
would
we
be
do that a
cool.
lot
when you
now.
can see
Yeah.
that.
That would be
no,
cool.
No, here you go on that. Is it true you sync that up with the Dark Side of the Moon, or it works out the same?
That's what I've heard. Yeah, that's what I've heard.
What's the Dark Side of the Moon?
I think you have to
Floyd
play
album.
something backwards, though, don't you, or something?
What? It's one person. Bruce, what's the Dark Side of the Moon?
It's a Pink Floyd album, and there's rumors if you watch The Wizard of Oz whilst listening to Dark Side of the Moon, it's sort of the same length.
Oh, okay.
I can neither confirm nor deny that, but that is what I've heard.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, boy, this is really derailed.
It is not. This is a great show. We've been on the show. We've been on for an hour. It's been Brad.
Lionel.
You're a connoisseur of podcasts.
Okay.
You.
There's some trepidation in that. Okay.
There was.
Well, you're aware of other model railroad podcasts.
Aware of, yeah.
Yes.
Not interested in, but aware.
No,
of,
yeah.
yes.
Would you say this would measure up to other? You've been part of an intricate, exclusive interview with the dude.
Yeah, I think this is a good podcast. Yeah, I've
Okay.
enjoyed listening
All
to
right.
this.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Cool. I'm a little nervous now because David is like thinking it's not good, and I'm thinking,
No. I just didn't know what to say about Pat Metheny. Isn't that
He's-
isn't that a
Neither did
football
anybody
coach?
else except Kelly.
yeah, I
You
think
know,
Kelly was the only
Football
one.
coach or something? Isn't that a football coach?
He's-
Metheny or
He
something?
said it derailed. That's the good thing about the AML. Even when it derails, that's when we have some of our best moments.
Exactly.
Let's get back on track.
And besides, by now you must realize that Kelly's going to say stuff that nobody has any idea what he's talking about.
This is true.
Yeah,
This is true.
come on, that's part of his charm.
Sorry. Yeah. I forgot
And of
about
course,
that.
I've unfortunately exited the message group, so I'm sure there's many explanations on there about it. Anyways, I'm sure Scott has sent many more messages about, gosh, I wish I was there. Well, then,
You want to know the funny? You want to know the funny
Well, then,
part, Lionel? As
well-
soon as you left, the messages stopped.
Scott always says, gosh, I wish I was there.
Tom wants to know why the Reading sign in Otter Valley has been sent to him yet.
Tom
Mm.
Jacobs?
Tom Jacobs.
Yeah, of course. That's why I left the message group. All right. So, Kevin,
Yes.
what was the highlight of the show for you?
I think the highlight Saturday was just the nonstop parade of AML people who stopped by. which
There you
was
go.
Absolutely fantastic.
Stop by where?
So I was working at a booth for the Milwaukee Transit Archives Museum,
Cool.
which is exactly what it sounds like. It's a museum dedicated to Milwaukee Transit, and one of the founding members of that museum. And
You are one of the founding members.
I am.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And
See
there's
now, David. That's the way the show works. If we weren't, inquiring minds want to know. If we weren't inquisitive, David, if we weren't willing to waste time on other things, we wouldn't find out these little tidbits.
Yeah, these nuggets. I understand.
It's like panning for gold.
There
Yeah.
you go. So they have a great display where they bring memorabilia, maps, other transit paraphernalia for Milwaukee, and then as part of their museum setup is an O-scale trolley layout. And there's a great layout that was built by my friends Brian and Bill, and it is, I want to say, six modules, 7 modules. And everything on these modules are inspired by areas around Greater Milwaukee.
And do
And,
they have a Facebook or like a website?
The website for the museum, let me pull it up. I know it's an abbreviated.
And see if you can say it really fast. Actually, you know what? Just write it on a slip of paper and pass it to Lorne and let him read it.
I have, yeah, there you go. I don't know if you could read this. It's MILW transit.org.
MILW transit.org.
Like MilwaukeeTransit.org. That makes sense.
Transit.org. Yeah. And that way it's short, it's simple, to the point,
And you know why it's .org?
because they're organized.
No, it's an organization.
Oh, So that's what that means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You notice how nobody ever gets that question right when I ask.
Figured I had a 50-50 shot at it.
But the only concern is that would never be any good for a Facebook group because it's not 95 letters like modeling the Milwaukee Road Transit System in 1943. Those scale fancy corners
On a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, exactly.
at 4:43.
It
Yeah,
says right
August-
here, museum
August
begin
12th.
August 12th. Museum beginnings. We incorporated in Wisconsin as the Milwaukee Transit Archives and Museum incorporated on December 22nd, 2004. Thanks to the ongoing efforts of one Kevin Marks from Appleton, Wisconsin. Without him, this group would never have started and probably would have failed shortly after.
Well, gosh, gee willikers. What
Wow,
an
that
honor.
makes me sound important.
Hats off to Kevin.
Mm.
Yeah. Actually,
Let's give him a big salute.
yeah.
Salute.
Salute. So the day started Saturday morning. I'd stayed at the DoubleTree across the street, and there were a few manufacturers eating breakfast over there as well, and got to the show a little bit after 8:00. And not long after I got in, and Speed came walking by.
Gert Muller
Yes, Gert Muller
from the Dallas Fort Worth area.
Yes, and I wasn't expecting to see him, but there he was.
He has something to do with the NMRA.
Speed is
Okay.
everywhere.
He is, and that's the second time I've met him live and in person, and we had a lovely chat. And if people following along would like to see pictures of everyone who I met that day, you can go to the fans page and just scroll back to November 23rd, and you can see pictures of everybody. So Speed and I were wearing the same AML quarter zip pullover that David Hyde got for us towards Springfield last year.
That's right. And if anybody would like to order another one, all you need to do is contact David Hyde at 555-261-3421.
Yeah,
Operators
Operators are standing by.
That's right. So Speed and I were discussing possibly doing another track building clinic for NMRA X. And I think I did like 6 or 7 of them previously, and just haven't done one for a while. So I said, absolutely, I'd love to help out. So it's great seeing Speed. And the cool thing this year was the booth for the museum was basically the second booth inside the main entrance, and everyone walking in the door had to walk past us. And then across the aisle from us was Combox / Fire Crown Media. So, we had never been in such a great location before, where the previous Trainfest, we were the furthest booth away in the furthest corner away from the main entrance. And by the time people got to us, they were just tired, and, not everyone came that way. But what was really cool to see, since everyone walking in the door kind of had to go past us, a lot of people had never seen an operating O-scale trolley layout before. And a lot of people spent a lot of time, and we actually had a couple people circle back after walking the show, and they said that was one of the more fascinating layouts that they had seen.
How many layouts would you think were at the show?
Couldn't tell you, but if you go to the
Maybe
Trainfest,
12, 15.
oh no, there's a lot more than that. If you go to the Trainfest website, there's a whole list of layouts that are there. The ModuTrack guys, you've heard me talk about ModuTrack before. They had an HO scale layout, and we've had Mike Skibby on the show before, and saw Mike and his buddy Hars. You've interviewed him as well a long time ago. Got to hang out with them for a little bit, and they had the HO scale layout and then the N scale layout, and the N scale layout was an expanded version of what they normally have. So that was really, really cool to see. And not long after Speed left, up comes Chris Costello.
Wow.
He was there with his brother and then another friend, and that was his brother's first model train show. So it was fun to see them, and they came for the day.
That was his
And,
brother Bill's first model train show?
I believe so. He did a
I-
post on the fans page.
I think he's
And,
been to Springfield with them on a.
Maybe it was the other gentleman's first train show. Okay, that might make sense. And then not long after they left, gentleman comes up and introduces himself, and he goes, "Your hard part." And I'm like, "Wow, okay." And it was AML fan Stephen Rice.
Oh, cool.
From Florida, and he made the trip up to Milwaukee. And I'm looking at the picture of his badge, and he actually printed out like a Modeler's Life like logo to slide inside of his badge, and had an AML button on it, and it was great. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and I'm assuming, yeah, I see that now. He's got, yeah, look at that, cool. REISS. That's right, Stephen Rice. I should, Stephen, you and I should get together one day, because you're not that far from me, Stephen. I don't think. And you're wearing your 3/4. How much are those, David? The new order of those 3/4 pullovers.
They come in at about $350. really expensive. Really expensive.
350.
Yeah.
Yeah, 350.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's the ticket.
Yeah,
that's the ticket.
Yeah, look at all the people you met. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, yeah. So then Stephen came in.
Yeah, so he came in. We had a nice chat, and then all of a sudden I look up, and there's Michelle Kempema.
And there's Michelle. I see that picture, and I saw before that you saw Cynthia Priest.
Yeah, I saw Cynthia on Sunday.
Okay, so those are later pictures. I see. Okay,
those were later pictures. And Saturday, it was so busy, and we had such big crowds being right up front by the door that I really didn't get a chance to walk around very much Saturday until later in the day. And I got to walk around with Michelle for a little bit. That was great. And as Michelle and I were walking around, up comes Bernard Helen from Mini Prince.
Okay, cool.
And got to chat with him. And then he was doing a live video. I think that might have been Sunday. He was walking around doing a live feed like he does.
And did you see the guys from Yeltsin Models? Because they're another 3D printing company, and they do excellent work as well.
I did not see them. I don't know if they were there or not.
What Kelly? What are you laughing at?
Nothing.
Okay. Yeah, just checking. And so I wandered back to the booth, and over at the booth, there's AML's own Matt Milliken and Darren Darren Myers.
Holy moly.
And they stopped by, and they had their AML shirts and quarter zips.
And Matt Milligan, this is a special message just for you. You requested something from me that I want to do for you, but you got to remind me, buddy. Because until a hard part mentioned your name, I forgot. I'm going to write that down right now, actually, Matt. I'm writing it down. I'm getting my pen out, and I'm writing it down right now because I want to do that favor for you. There we go.
There we go.
Matt.
It sounds like if Kevin and Dave do the show next year, they should have a 2:00 photo shot.
Yeah, they should. Yeah,
we should have done that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, I know David did a bunch of interviews.
Oh yeah, I tried. That was a disaster. I have to have the equipment.
No kidding.
It sucked. Yeah.
Does the proper equipment make a difference?
However, David, you might want to coordinate with Mr. Jacobs. He has first dibs. But this year at Springfield, we're going to have 2 sets of equipment. We'll have one that I'm going to keep at the booth so that anybody that wanders by the booth, I can interview them if I want to, or they would like to be interviewed. And another set for Tom Jacobs, who likes to do interviews, and you want to do interviews. So then when he's not using it, you can use it.
That sounds great. But I'll defer to Queso for sure.
Yeah, well, I think he's got first dibs, but I think we can find you a slot in there. He won't. We won't let him keep it for the whole time.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
so then after where were we at? We saw Michelle. We saw David Hyde. I see David Hyde, and then Matt Milligan came. Matt Milligan came up. Is that Mr. Myers with Matt Milligan?
Yeah, that's Darren.
Yeah. And then we see there's Chris Costello
Yep,
and his
Chris
brother Bill. I see
Costello.
Chris is growing a beard, so him and his brother, you can't tell them apart now.
They do look very similar.
Yeah.
And it's like every time I run into Chris, I have him tell me a little bit more about all the cool stuff that they have going on, either with his observation car or the building that they have for JL Innovative. He always has to tell me what he's making in the kitchen.
And we gotta have him on again. Who's the fella in the orange reddish shirt, the Carhartt shirt?
Oh, that's Peter. He is actually my neighbor's fiance. Literally my neighbor's fiance. And I think it took us about 5 years before he goes, "So you're into model trains, huh?" And I'm like, "Yeah, a little bit." And
Who's asking? Who's asking?
yeah, and that's that's kind of like model railroading in a nutshell, where it's like we aren't out there like screaming at that, "Look what I do."
Oh yeah, but it's getting different. It's changing as we speak. I have a story. Hey, you know what? I have a story for later that we'll see. I don't think it's particularly funny, but I think it's almost as interesting as Mr. Jingle's story. So we'll let you guys decide. It's a lot shorter too, so it'll be easier to keep your attention.
Oh.
I've only gotten through like the first 3 hours of my trip.
And well,
I'm sorry, our time is up.
Yeah, it is coming to an end. I see there's a picture here with somebody from Resource Rails.
Yeah, that's Don Betker. He was at the
cool.
AML barbecue.
He's a big AML fan.
Yeah, when we did the last barbecue in Rochelle,
that's right.
He and his wife stopped by, and then I saw James Regier. He's on the Dude Show.
The Dude Show. He's a regular on the Dude Show.
And just to show how small this world is, last time I was in North Carolina, which was just a few weeks ago, hanging out with Doc Gardner. He has a group of neighborhood guys that hangs out and they like to have a beverage in garages, which is fantastic. And one of his neighbors is related to James Regier. And it's like, "Oh, you're into model trains too? Do you know James Regier?" And I go, "Yeah, I know James Regier." And literally 2 weeks later, I sent Doc a picture that I posted on the fans page of James and I standing there. And I'm like, "Send this to your neighbor." And how's that? And you just never know. Who knows who around the world. And then rounding up Saturday, I finally, towards the end of the day, got a chance to walk around the show, and there's Stephen Hayworth, friend
there you
of
go.
podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Long time AMLer, Stephen Hayworth.
Long time. He is just such a great dude to talk to, and just such a kind person, and always has great things to say. And he was part of a narrow gauge layout, and he was helping to operate trains. And it was kind of primo, but it was like a continuous loop. And they had several trains running at the same time. So that was kind of the end of the day Saturday. And then one of the Trainfest traditions is the trolley guys go to a German restaurant just west of downtown called Kegel's Inn, which opened in the 30s and looks like, if you think what a German restaurant should look like, with murals on the wall and heavy leaded stained glass windows, that's what this place is. And it's still in the family, 4th generation. And we get the tables in the back of the restaurant. And we had a big group dinner, and as we're walking out, David Hyde walks in.
Okay.
So that was one of the recommendations.
And you went without him, did you?
Well, I had I went with the group, and we had reservations, and there were no additions.
And,
well, he was with his whole group, and
I had my posse.
Yeah, he had his posse, and he needs to tell us about the NAPM layout.
What's that? Is that where
toddlers?
Isn't that there's a layout downtown, isn't there? Beside some restaurant, is this the same place that we're thinking of? because there's a big club layout downtown. And last time I went to Trainfest, everybody went to this restaurant, which is beside a fantastic layout, club layout in a basement. Do we know?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah,
that's
that's
the
the
North
Natham,
American Prototype Modelers. And Trainfest is the only time of the year where it's open to the public. And the other tradition is going to, I think it's a Greek restaurant or next to that strip, that shopping center, and going there for dinner. And that's where we had dinner, Lionel, way back in, I don't know, 2017, 2018,
many
somewhere
years
in
ago.
there. And and then the layout is just literally right around the corner, and there's a big strip mall, and the layout is in the basement of this huge strip mall, and this is just a massive layout. And if you want to see a 19-car passenger train run and not look dwarfed, or it makes it look dwarfed because the scenery is so big, and just the sheer run of the layout is just monstrous.
It
But
is.
they got-
It's HO scale, and it's got 26 scale miles of Class A track, with two-thirds of that.
Holy.
Two-thirds of that comprised of an impressive double-track mainline, and they're founded in 1985 with the help of Kevin Marks from Appleton, Wisconsin. The group never would have got off the ground without his diligence. Wow, you're kind of like Kelly. You're kind of like involved in every club going.
I'm everywhere except I don't have a radar gun.
There you go. I don't think Kelly does anymore either.
Oh, it's collecting dust right now.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I did. So I think we should switch back to David Hyde now.
Yeah, I just want to say one last thing about that layout is coming to Trainfest is, going to Trainfest on Saturday and then going to that layout afterwards is worth the trip in. There are very few club layouts as big as and extensive and well detailed as the North American Prototype layout.
Well, that one in that we went to in Bethlehem. Is it in Bethlehem?
Yeah, Lehigh and Keystone.
Yeah, that's a fantastic layout. It's about the same size, I would guess. Or is it not?
This one is longer.
Okay.
Yeah, it's basically kind of like
I think they told me it was 4,800 square feet.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
The layout.
Yeah, the layout is 40. Yeah, because the club quarters are in excess of 5,000 square feet.
Oh, it's way bigger than that.
The club quarters are in excess of 5,000 square feet, which means it could be 22,000 square feet. The word excess is the key there.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So didn't you operate on a layout there, David?
I did. So on Thursday after Lombard, we went to a club in Lombard, Illinois, called Prairie Scale Model Railroaders. That was just a tour. It is a 7,000 square foot layout, double deck. Double deck. It has a helix that I think is 110-inch radius, and it's double track, and it's a 1% grade.
What'd you call it? The Prairie Scale Model Railroad Club?
Prairie Scale Model Railroaders, and it's in Lombard, Illinois. And very, very, very impressive club layout. One of the gentlemen that was giving us the tour told us it takes, at least if you're running, scale speed, it takes about 55 minutes to an hour to run the whole layout around before you get back to the beginning.
And they had their first operating session in 2014, thanks to the diligent efforts of one Kevin Marks.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy, around, doesn't he?
Yeah.
It was an unbelievable. Both of these club layouts were unbelievable, but they both were very impressive. And then so we toured that for a while, and then we headed on to Milwaukee. And then the next day, I got to operate on Steve Miazga's Masabi lines and scale layout in the morning.
How did you manage that?
Speed Muller got us an invite, so I went with Speed and Michelle Kempema, and we went and operated that layout in the morning, and it was just a beautiful layout. I know it's been in some of the magazines. And then we headed over for lunch at a kind of a bar and grill right on the kind of right near a diamond where the Canadian National meets the, I don't know, I guess maybe it was the BNSF. I can't remember, but had lunch there and had a great time. I met. I actually at the operating session where I met Jim Kelly.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that was fun for you.
So we worked a couple trains together. He was the engineer and I was a conductor.
And I believe if I'm not, I had somebody who was also in attendance there that gave me a little heads up on when you guys met, and you walked up to him and said, "Hi, I'm a friend of Lionel Strang's. He has a podcast," and he went, "Who?"
I actually asked him if he remembered. He's like, "Oh yeah, Lionel taught me everything I know." That's what he said. Yeah. So he was a very sweet man. And then we actually we went over to his house after that, after lunch. We made a quick stop at Hiawatha Hobbies, which is also a really great hobby store.
So you didn't really go to Milwaukee to go to the show. You just went to Milwaukee to do other stuff.
Yeah, I mean everything, right? I wanted to operate. I wanted to tour club layouts, see layouts.
On Saturday morning, you operated on a layout. Then you went to lunch at a Diamond. Then you operated on another layout, met Jim Kelly. Then
that was all on Friday. But yes,
this is all on Friday.
Yeah, that was on Friday. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I apologize.
So then Jim opened his house, and we went and saw his Tehachapi Santa Fe layout, the N scale. So that was great to see. And then we headed down to the show. People were setting up. I found these amazing pre-made trees that Renault sells, which is a European dealer. They sell Marklin and all those European trains, but they have these trees that are made in Poland. They're handmade, and they're just fantastic. So I ended up spending $300 on trees.
And who was selling them?
Reynolds is the name of the distributor or the company. REYNAULDS.com.
REY.
Yeah, I think so.
Keep going. REY.
REYNAULDS.com.
LDS. Did you get that, Brad?
I got it. Yes.
Have you Renault Euro Imports HO model trains and locomotives? Wow, look at that. And they're in Elburn, Illinois.
Yes. So I ended up spending quite a bit of money on these trees because they were just fantastic.
Well, aren't you basically loaded anyways?
No, but I do spend a lot of money on trains.
How many?
That's just an assumption.
Speaking of spending a lot of money on trains, how did that whole thing with you and Otter Valley work out, where you were buying 33 locomotives, and he was jerking you around because you guys couldn't get organized on the order or something, and he didn't want. How did that all work out? Lauren, would you like to jump in on this one?
Oh, I'd like to hear this.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Well, let me fill you in on basic. I'll give you the Cole's notes. David,
don't you owe me money, Lionel, for 2 locals?
With interest.
Yeah. Before we go down this path, let's just realize who owes people who.
Well, yeah, I owe lots of people money. I'm not sure what that has to do with you selling.
Mr. Hyde's orders filled in full. I can tell him. I got an email 2 days ago for all the custom stuff. It's filled, David. I even got an email confirming it, so we're good.
Awesome. We're all set then.
Yay.
Let me just fill you guys in. So David, who barely gets by, he lives basically paycheck to paycheck.
Under the layout.
Yeah, under the layout with Bob.
Really? Bob's.
Yeah.
Is it Bob 1 or Bob 2?
It's Bob 2. Bob 2. The guy that does all the work is
I can
Bob
see
2.
the viewers are getting confused. All these Bobs falling around.
Bob,
We need the program, We need the program.
So anyways, David ordered 20 locomotives. And then he decided he would ask all his friends if they wanted locomotives. So then he ordered another 13 locomotives for a total of 33 locomotives. Some with sound, some without sound, some with one stripe, some with several stripes.
Hopefully they're all different numbers.
Yeah, some with the same number, some with different numbers. Some of them with the axles missing. I didn't understand. Some with the handrails only on the left side of the locomotive. It was very confusing. And poor old Lauren was trying to write it down as fast as he could, and then at the end of it, he couldn't. Then there became a bit of a mishmash because David kept saying, "Well, I'm ordering 33 locomotives. Can't you get this right?"
Uh-huh.
Wow.
For anyone listening at home, Otter Valley doesn't operate that way. So there's my disclaimer. Lionel's not speaking the truth. So there's my disclaimer.
Is Lionel embellishing for
Not operating what way? What did I say?
dramatic effect?
What did I say that would?
I'm not having it out there in the public that that's how Otter Valley operates. Mr. Hyde and I are 100% on the same page, and we got him happy.
Operate? What did I say? I don't think I talked about how you operate. At what point did I say that he? Bruce? What did I say about him? His operation?
I don't know. I was still confused on which Bob it was.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything about your operation. I said you guys were trying to fill an order, and David was giving you all these oddball orders, and you were trying to keep up with him. What's wrong with that? No, there's silence.
Oh boy,
Kelly,
silence.
there's Kelly.
I will say that we got it all worked out, and
Yeah, I thought it all worked out beautifully.
It's all worked out. It's Lauren takes care of me.
Exactly. That's kind of where I was kind of headed. You were ordered 33 locomotives, and Otter Valley filled the order, no problem.
Listen, if you're an American and you need Rapido stuff, you go to Lauren. It's just that's
Exactly.
the bottom line.
Exactly. If you need Rapido trains,
Your fast track to model railroading fun across the world.
Rapido trains, your fast track to model railroading fun.
yeah, we highly recommend. We highly recommend you go to Otter Valley Railway, which is ovr.ca or .com or what is it?
OVRtrains.com with a brand new updated website, which Lionel says is nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
OVR.
it's got the Lionel Strength thumbs up of approval.
All right, that's it. How do you think this went,
It's
Brad?
got to be Bob's fault.
Yeah, it's Bob's
Got to be
fault.
Bob.
Which
Bob
one?
2 or
Which
Bob 1,
Bob?
though.
Yeah, exactly.
The other-
Then you
the
gotta
other Bob.
cover it.
Yeah, Bob. Hey, Bob.
Hey,
Nice handle, Bob.
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 We love the new website. We love the new OVR website.
I'm on it right now.
Looks
Look at that.
fantastic. Yeah.
It does look fantastic. Look at that. Look at all the. Lauren, you're very touchy. I'm giving you all this free.
In a sensitive way, not in a touchy feely way.
Yeah, exactly. I'm giving you all this free press, and then every time I see you, in every other picture I see you, and you're wearing some other podcast T-shirt. So I don't.
Mm-mm.
Actually, Lionel, I've actually been on national news a bunch of times.
That's right. Yeah, tell them about that. That's going to be real
Yes,
quickly.
that's
Let's-
true.
Yes, you were on the
So-
national news. Yes, we'll put the. You know what? We'll put the link to that in the description for this podcast, and then we're going to have to say goodbye.
So 2 weeks ago, I was interviewed by Rosemary Barton, who is a pretty large political speaker for CBC National, and I was on the Rosemary Barton show.
Do you mean large in like weight size?
Oh, jeez.
Well, he said she's a large. I was trying to understand.
She's one of the most highly recognized political people for speaking in Canada.
I
media.
see what you mean. You mean
And I
she's
did
well
that on the
known.
Sunday, well known, and then
well known. Okay.
then on the Monday, I was on the Vashi Capellos radio show across Canada, and she's
Who?
also a very Vashi Capellos, who's on CTV.
Bruce.
Capellos.
Bruce.
I think it's Vassey, and Capellos is a Greek.
She's
last
Greek.
name.
She's Greek,
Yes.
but she's a household name in Canada. I was
Yep.
on her show on Monday, and-
Apparently she's not in my household.
and
She's only in some households.
and then that afternoon I was on BNN News, and then the next day I was on.
Well, what is
CTV.
BNN News? Can you slow down? For God's sake, no wonder you and David couldn't get your orders straight as you were talking. Do you listen the same way you talk?
Jeez.
That's
there's that uppercut again.
That's the
There's that
table. That's the
uppercut again.
table master.
Yeah.
So then I was on CTV Morning News the next morning with Anne-Marie Meadowake.
What's
I'm
BNN?
sorry,
What's
go
what-
slow. You
what's-
were on SBTV.
Yeah.
Business News Network.
So
Business
first you
News-
were with Rosemary Barton, and she's on what?
On
She's on the CBC.
Yeah.
And then you were with Vashi
Capellos
Vashi
on iHeartRadio,
iHeartRadio. Okay.
and then
She
I was
used,
on.
she used to be on the TV as well.
She is on TV still, Bruce.
Yes.
she has
Oh, is
both.
she? Okay.
She is both.
All right.
Then I
She's
was
a
on.
household name.
and then I was on BNN and CTV News on Monday afternoon. So BNN is Business News Network, is basically the Canadian version of CNBC.
Okay.
And then the next morning, I was on CTV News. Good Morning Wake Up with Anne Marie Meadowake,
Oh, okay.
talking about the current Canada Post strike, because right now we have no mail service in the lovely country of Canada. And what that means is you can't ship product via USPS, and you can't ship international parcels off continent until the strike is over, because of all the agreements that Canada Post has with UK Mail, Royal Mail, Dutch Mail, Singapore Mail, and different other jurisdictions. And the international shippers like UPS, FedEx, Canpar, and Purelator, their rates are 2 to 3 times the rates that Canada Post would be for international customers. So I'm right now having half my back room full of international orders, waiting until the strike is over.
Wow.
And when do we think the strike will be over?
January.
Oh, okay. Wow, a month away? Or
There's no
whenever
reason-
this is being broadcast.
There's no reason for them to settle. I can't figure out. I mean,
Yeah.
lots of business owners. We're through Black Friday. We're going to be through Cyber Monday, and there's no resolution, and they're missing millions of parcels every day. So
I can think of a reason for them to settle so they can get paid.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I pulled up Rosemary Barton here on the work in the Google on the internet machine, and she doesn't seem to be that big of a woman to me. She's 5'6" and looks like she's of average size.
She's even shorter than I am.
Nobody's shorter than you.
Oh,
what I
forgot.
meant was she's a big personality in the political landscape of what happens on the Hill at Parliament.
I
in
think what
Ottawa.
you meant to say is she's a well-known host of well-known news journalist, political news journalist.
Correct.
Currently serving as the chief political correspondent for the CBC.
Yep.
All right, that's it. We're done.
Man.
Kelly, can you give out our email address?
Yes, I can give out the email address. You can reach us at modellerslife@gmail.com. That's modeler with one L like Milwaukee Trainfest, not 2 L's like Model Railroad.
Oh, that was pretty good.
I was going to use trolley, but it just didn't fit.
2 L's like trolley doesn't fit.
Nah. It didn't ring. It didn't ring.
Didn't ring. I think it would have been better than better. I
thought I would have gone with trolley.
I would
I
have
don't
gone
know.
with trolley.
Fits in my world. I don't know.
Yes, I know that.
happens in
Absolutely.
Medford, Oregon.
Yeah, exactly. Anybody out there who just who picked up on our, if you didn't pick up on our email address, if you go to our website, amodellerslife.com, and scroll down to the picture of the moderately agitated mailboy in a particularly agitated state. And you know why he's particularly agitated, Bruce?
Why is that?
Because his package from Rapido Trains.
Your fast track to model railroading fun.
If it's N, if it's H-O, the fast track is Rapido.
Is held up in the Canadian postal system.
Oh man, that would make anybody agitated.
Hate when that
Exactly.
happens.
Exactly. So if you go there and but let us know if you felt trolley would have been better than model railroad.
We can put a poll up on the fans
Yeah,
page when this
Yeah,
goes
let's
up.
put up a poll on the fans page. Yeah.
Kelly said model railroad. Everybody
Right.
else thinks trolley is better.
Yeah.
Let us know.
What do
It's
you
gonna be
think?
a landslide trolley.
Yeah. Exactly.
Trolley going away by 29 lengths.
Yeah. Exactly. And you know what, Lauren, how I was irritating you there just a moment ago about you felt like I was not giving your store the proper credit.
Yeah.
Where would you rather be? Would you rather be anywhere else than right here, right now?
Other than freezing my ass at a Buffalo Bills game right now, that's you're my number one.
There you go. See?
Aw,
There
that's
you
so
go.
nice.
How do you think this went, Brad?
I thought it was outstanding. It was great hearing about all the fun that those guys had and all the members of AML Nation. It sounded like
Yeah,
they showed
that's
up
the
in
cool
force.
part. That's the cool part is all the
Yeah,
members of the AML
Yeah.
Nation. So what else? Oh yeah, Lauren,
Lionel,
have you ever wanted a T-shirt with a hot dog on it?
absolutely, I have.
Well, if you go to Midwest Model Railroad, which is another great hobby store, but I must say, between you and Stephen Atwell, I think you two guys have the market cornered as far as fabulous model railroad stores.
Mm.
You'll find AML merch under other
Yeah, yes. You scroll across. If you scroll across the navigation bar at Midwest Model Railroad, and you get to other, and you have the drop down menu is the AML shop. That's not unlike Otter Valley, where if you scroll across the navigation bar, there's no mention of the AML shop.
It's coming.
Hey, Lionel, what's the timestamp right now?
Clearly, we're still in the cage. Clearly, the cage match is still going on here. So,
Oh man.
Oh, I love-
Lionel was working on this for like an hour and a half, and boom, here it comes.
there you go.
82 mile an hour fastball, bell tie.
beat ball, an old beat ball.
Oh, I love this show.
Me too, actually. Anyways, if you go to that Midwest Model Railroad and go to other, click on the AML shop, boom, you're in a wonderland of AML merchandise, hats, hoodies, T-shirts, mugs, and in there you'll find a T-shirt with a hot dog on it. Brad, have you ever bought any of those?
Yes, 4 different times I have.
Wow, there you go.
Do you keep getting mustard on them, have to replace them, or what?
Yep.
Are you a bit of a sloppy fellow?
Oh, yes.
Bruce,
Yes, completely.
Bruce, you know what I found out last night?
What's that?
In the last 5 years, the Toronto
Yes.
Maple Leafs have had 12 goalies.
That doesn't surprise me.
Speaking of that, wait till you see the T-shirt that I'm wearing tonight. when we
Okay.
go offline. Yeah.
And beat by a Zamboni driver too.
Yeah, that's true. And
This is true, too. Yes.
Exactly. What else do we have to tell you? I think that's. Oh yeah. And if you like this podcast, which was on the free channel, also on our Patreon, on our website, if you click on the Patreon link for just a few cents a day, you can get twice as much podcasting a week. And on the paid channel, it's a much more down home friendly. Well, it's not more friendly, but it's more. Actually, you know what I was thinking? I'm
Folksy,
interested in your guys' thought about this. I've seen a few people online who I would really like to interview. Like, there's this one guy. He has a YouTube channel. He goes by the handle of Rob Roy, but he is a former Navy pilot. He's got all these great videos of him taking off and landing on aircraft carriers. And I'm thinking, boy, he'd be an interesting guy to talk to. And I was wondering if once in a while we couldn't completely deviate from model railroading on the paid channel and just have some of these interesting people.
And get Mr. Jingles to co-host
Why?
Aviation Corner.
Well, yeah, but what if it's somebody that's, collects
Stamps.
Yeah.
What if it's part of Brad's bits? Come on now.
Brad's bits?
Brad's bits.
I will thank you to leave my bits out of this.
Just try to give you a plug there, Brad. Just try to give you a plug.
Thanks, Lauren.
Okay, I'm confused. What are Brad's bits?
You don't want to know.
Oh, this is something you guys were talking about
No.
before the podcast?
No, that was just completely off the cuff. We improv that.
Oh, okay. All right. Why doesn't it surprise me that what Lauren said makes absolutely no sense?
Welcome, Skew. Welcome, Skew.
Okay.
Spew, not skew. Spew.
Yeah, spew, yeah. And so just a few cents. And if you go to the T-shirt level, boom, not only will you get the podcast, but once a year you get a T-shirt that's only available to Patreon members, and you are then entered into the game that's sweeping the nation, sweeping the globe. Hey, dude, where's my shirt? And I keep improving that. I'm slowly one day, I think just before I pass away, I go to that. Oh, this is something I've mentioned to you guys before. When I leave this great earth, if anybody ever says in their Facebook comments or anything about it, says he's gone to that great choo-choo in the sky or that great train station, any mention of trains, I will haunt you for the rest of your life.
Sound like a man.
I can think of few things more terrifying than that, too. So,
Yeah.
haunted by Lionel Strang's ghost.
Oh man.
They think that's it. Have we covered it all, Bruce?
I believe so.
Well, there's nothing worse than for the balance of my life having this little voice in my ear going, "Hey man, got $5?" I want to get you something really nice for your birthday.
Something real nice.
Real nice.
That was a Christmas vacation reference for
Yes.
you young folks at home.
And while you're at it, get you something real nice. Well, no, come on, I'm serious. Well, okay, I made up a list.
Alphabetized.
And while you're at it, get yourself something real nice. Lauren, are you ready? I'm going to give this honor to Lauren. I think he took the biggest beating tonight. Don't you guys?
Yes.
Sure.
Yes, Lauren earned it.
Yeah. Lauren, are you ready?
I'm ready.
So remember, A Modeler's Life podcast is considered marginally adequate by 6 out of 10
Podcast guest on other podcasts.
Four by four car crushing action Saturday at the Spectrum. Burning motor coaches battle it out in the mud bog with special guest stars Heather Locklear and Knight Rider Car Kit.
It's another Lincoln Homer.
Interesting.
Can I change my vote?
Wow. Wow.
I think, yeah.
Didn't see that one coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it was easy and then it became complicated. He could have just said model railroad shop owners and we would have all been, hey, that's great.
Hey, right on. Yeah.
You know, but now it's a whole new can of worms open.
How do you feel after that, Kevin?
I feel icky.